Please make sure to check out One Piece on Netflix.
You'll have to excuse them. They're idiots.
One Piece. Just exactly what is this One Piece people are talking about? Could it be this they're referring to? No. Maybe that? Perhaps not. I keep going back to that image. I don't know why. But I'll tell you one thing. I sure am going to enjoy researching the One Piece after this video is finished. Make sure you give Lina Belfiore a subscribe. I know I'm going to give her a duck quack or two in the comment section below. Now, Netflix have done the unthinkable. No, I'm not talking about Witcher Blood Origins Season 2, because if that ever happens, I think I'm going to give up on life altogether. But you've heard about One Piece, a 1,000 episode plus series that's been running since 1997, I think. And I have caught glimpses of it here and there. But honestly, my take is going to be a lot different from what people have said about it in their individual reviews. Because when I finished watching One Piece, it didn't feel to me like this is an adaptation of an anime series. Imagine me as Oliver McQueen, or rather Oliver Queen, because McQueen is a different guy altogether, on a desert island for 5 years, growing a beard, doing martial arts, coming back to New York, or in my case, London, and turning on this series, and then afterwards looking to a friend of mine saying this is the greatest thing I have ever seen. Well, that's actually a bit of an overstatement, because One Piece is mostly great. I think the precedence that it actually sets is an unusual one, because everybody says you can't take anime and completely change it around by getting, well, not the original source actors to play their animated counterparts, right? You just can't do that. But for some odd reason, when I watched One Piece, I just think of it as a brand new IP. Now, is it perfect? Of course it isn't. I've got a few quibbles about it. Have I watched the animated series? No, I haven't, because it just flashes up on my timeline here and there, and I can't say I'm an expert, that's for sure. I know who Monkey D. Luffy is. I know who Nani is, for obvious two great reasons, and I can't wait to talk about her as well in this video. There's so many characters in this show, but honestly, Netflix have done the impossible, and they basically learned their lessons from Cowboy Bebop, which, look, to be fair to that show, I love the anime, and it was just basically riffing off specific episodes of that series. But you had a cast of actors and actresses who had just passed their sell-by date, and they looked like fancy cosplayers making a very expensive fan film, and for 9 out of 10 times it just did not work. I think the passion was there, I think the heart was almost there, but then, like in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, it got ripped out and crushed. But of course, one thing about this series so far that I haven't seen online, you haven't had like the main actress Emma Rudd. I think she's terrific. I think Maya Hawke, you better step aside, girl, because there's a new sheriff in town. Not only Miss Rudd, but also Peyton List from Cobra Kai. But I will say this much, she has a terrific pair of legs. I mean, they go on for miles and miles.
The drama man told me he was so in love. He was so in love with the majorette.
A little bit lacking in the chest region, because if you know anything about Nani, the character, she's kind of become an iconic character now in the anime show, because she was a very, shall we say, flattering bikini. And I'm just wondering if Miss Rudd will go henceforth into season 2 and beyond, and maybe grant the fans their wishes. Now, listen, one thing I'm going to say about this show, I think the precedence that it actually sets is that when you look at something like Ghost in the Shell, the backlash that got because you had a white actress like Scarlett Johansson playing the main titular role, and people were in an uproar about that. I think now it's safe to say, if you were to revisit Akira, a live-action version, many years ago in the 90s, Leonardo DiCaprio was touted or thought of to play the lead role of Akira, and I thought he would have been perfect. Now, whoever the next Leonardo DiCaprio is out there somewhere in the oceans, I think you might want to revisit that and maybe try getting a non-Asian actor in the role. No more this, oh, you can't take an Asian character and turn them white or turn them black. And yes, they have done that in this series as well, believe it or not. I don't think you can actually say that for the time being, because One Piece is just a very well-written show. It wears its heart firmly on its sleeve. It's all about optimism. It's all about friendship. It's all about being king of the pirates, because being king of the world is just so au fait these days. The lead actor who plays Luffy the monkey, never heard of him. He's a Mexican dude, and he looks like the animated counterpart. It's uncanny valley stuff, isn't it? It really is, and I think he's terrific. I've got to give props to Craig Fairbrass as Chef Zeph. It's one of the best roles he's ever done since Simon Ghost Riley in the old school Call of Duty games.
Knife the watermelon. Nice! Your fruit killing skills are remarkable.
At first I didn't recognize it was him until I heard the dulcet Cockney tones, that baritone voice that he almost has.
Oi, 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 what do you think you're doing?
Come on, old man, enough's enough.
Put the jacket back on, little eggplant. You're not done with your shift yet.
And you know what? For the most part, the series, the set designs, they look incredible. I love pirates. Ray Stevenson, the best Blackbeard we ever had on Black Sails. R.I.P. Mr. Stevenson. He gave us some good lolly in that particular role. But I do have a couple of gripes about this show, namely the casting of Nani's sister. This is the actress they chose to play the animated version of Nani's sister. Now, I know what you're saying, Jace. It's just a cartoon. It's just a made-up character. Why are you getting into an uproar about this? Well, listen, I'm not about to have an as meltdown about this, because we've been there and we've done it, okay? But my gripe is, and I know where they were going with this story, because the flashbacks and a lot of the series is told in partial flashbacks. When we see Nani as played by Emma Rudd as an orphaned girl with orange hair, she takes shelter with Lady of Diversity until they are found by their surrogate mother. And I get it, yes, they're orphans. So, and at one point, actually, an angry young Nani does turn to her mother and say, "That's not my sister." So it's kind of funny that she says that. For the most part, if you're forced or you feel obliged to cast an actress of color in a specific role that means a lot to people, at least let her have some talent. The young lady here in question, she's only had 2 credits to her name, and one of them was the Woman King with Viola Davis, so take that as you will, but she's not very good in the role. I don't believe she's a spiritual adoptive sister of Nani. There's just no resonance there. If you wanted to cast an actress of diversity, perhaps make her Indian or get a Far East Asian actress, someone like that, but they didn't go there. And also the very bizarre casting of Kobe as played by Morgan Davis or Davies, and you might think at first, well, what's wrong with that? Except it's a transgender actress. They were born a girl, became a boy in their teens, and now they're playing one of the most titular roles in this series.
Don't you get it? Girls can beat boys.
Now, I will say that performance is very good, but since I kind of picked up on the fact they looked a bit effeminate and I couldn't quite figure out what was going on, the only thing I'm going to say about that is perhaps if Morgan Davies wasn't lucky to land this role, you may have had a biological male to fill those shoes and maybe do just as commendable a job, right? So, you know, those are my minor gripes aside. I think the production, the sets, the pirate ships, yeah, because if you don't know what One Piece is all about, it's Luffy, the monkey, and his crew. They go on adventures, and I tell you what, there are some incredible standout episodes here. The one with a woman called Maya. Was it Maya or Kaya? It's Maya.
Oh, Miss Kaya.
And she's a rich girl, but there's a great moment where she meets Nani and she patronizes her unintentionally about having money and giving away to charity and making out that Nani's some sort of charity case, and ironically she actually is, which is kind of funny. But I really love that moment, and there's so many great characters. Yes, there are diverse characters, and somehow it actually works in this. My favorite standout character, believe it or not, is not actually the lead person, Monkey D. Luffy. I've got to say, I'm rather partial to Mr. Zorro. I believe he's actually my favorite character. Of course, I had to freeze frame on Miss Emma Rudd because she is just a tall drink of water that doesn't stop pouring. Yeah, what I'll say about Mr. Zorro here, he reminds me of the Far East Asian version of Bruce Wayne. He's got that mystique, that aura, that ambiguity about him, which I really do dig. And in some cases, I kind of relate to as well. So I can't wait to see how his character evolves in season 2 and beyond. And like me, on occasion, he thinks he looks a lot better in black because it's so badass. So I did appreciate that about him. And yes, there is going to be a season 2, believe it or not. I can't believe it, but I think the one thing that might be against the series, if the Hollywood strike continues to progress as it is, and these actors are going to be aging a day or a year older, I wonder if the audience will still be accepting of them as young starlets, what's the male version of a starlet? I have no idea, but you know what I'm talking about. They're all breakout actors now and actresses in this show, and I think it might have 5 seasons altogether if the cast stay out of the headlines, don't make any stupid takes about the characters.
6 foot, double D size breast, 2-inch waist. You know, they looked everywhere for that woman and they couldn't find her. It's kind of weird. So they just went with my short ass. I know. Am I right?
Or get involved in any Russell Brand style allegations. And I'm going to say a very quick thing about that as well. I've chosen not to make a video about it or monetize off it because I think it's pretty cringe. I think Russell Brand personally is deplorable, he's despicable. He's not remotely talented, not funny, he's just a hack. And that dispatches Channel 4 documentary I watched last night. I actually believe the women. And I know people in my sphere have made videos monetizing off the fact and saying the exact opposite of what I'm thinking. But sorry, I actually do believe the victims that he's whose lives he's made an absolute misery. So yes, if the cast keep their noses clean, and I do also mean clean in that reference, then we should have some memorable seasons. But I think make some changes, see where it goes. But that is it, a normie perspective from yours truly about One Piece Season 1, 8 episodes on Netflix. I gave it a double thumbs up because I genuinely enjoyed my time with this show. And if you're thinking about giving it a watch but not quite sure about treading those murky waters amongst the pirate ships, hell, this show makes me even want to go back to replay Black Flag's Assassin's Creed 4, which is an amazing game to play. So on that one, ladies and gentlemen, if you were you and if you were me, you better come back for the next video.
I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
All I need is a loyal crew.